Welcome to the Political Matrix News. We have the sources, we have the truth from inside the political matrix. Hey there, sports fans. It's the Political Matrix News. We're doing this on Monday, the 19th of August. By the time this actually hits, it should be Tuesday, the 20th. And the reason Tuesday, the 20th of August is important, well, it's election day, at least primary election day in the Sunshine State of Florida. Two people that have more experience in the Sunshine State in elections are joining us this evening. They happen to be Political Matrix Director Scott Miller and Political Matrix Director Greg Fink. They know everything about the primary election. Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Well, I will tell you that the most flattered that I've been is when the local supervisors of elections, and she's done it, they've done it to both of us, have been speaking at events and have confirmed that they were correct about a point of law or a point of election with me or Greg. When we're sitting in the audience. So, that is definitely a flattering moment.
It is flattering. What's even more flattering is whenever you have the biggest "I told you so" in the world the day before the election, which I had today with a lot of people we were working with in primaries, and they were like, "I wish we would have done this." I'm like, "I told you so." I wish we would have spent more money on this. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. But we always realize that at the end of the day, the voters vote, the candidates can't campaign, and the stuff that the political matrix does is we create all the vehicles for them to get the votes to the door. And so, we create all the energy, we create the synergy basically, and we make it to where if they do exactly the right stuff to do, they should have a pretty good chance of winning. Unfortunately, that doesn't always happen.
We give them a great toolbox, but they got to pick up the hammer at some point.
It's sometimes the hammer gets rusty and the head falls off.
Yeah,
there's that. The head falling off is somebody whispering in their ear. I got this guy at the barber shop, and he told me you should do this. This guy in the hair salon said we should do this. This guy at the cake shop said we should do this. And you know what they do? They do what they do. And so, but tomorrow is election day, and I hope everybody gets the hell out and vote. Vote for the gates of your choice on the Republican side.
The what?
Vote for the anti-gates. I'm joking. I'm all sarcasm aside.
No, here's what they should do. Okay,
kind of like
if you're in the Panhandle in Northwest Florida and the name Gates is in an election that you're voting for, just mark right in and write Scott Miller there.
Or you can do that, yeah. Write Scott Miller or Mickey Mouse.
I can tell you that you won't find anyone more anti-Gates than me. I know these people; they're bad people.
And if you see Don Gates on a ballot for Senate, and because there's some sort of weird voting going on, he's not running for the primary, so make sure that you do not see him on your ballot because he's in a general election. Now, a lot of people are going to say they saw Don Gates on their ballot, thinking it's Matt Gates, and a lot of people are going to get them conflated and confused.
They already have.
I'll bet a silver dollar on that. A lot of people think they voted for Don Gates and voted for Matt Gates.
And by the way, the criticism of the Gateses is not based on the fact that they're Republicans. It's not based on the fact, it's not based on politics. And people always say, oh, you're some lefty here when you say about Matt Gates. And I go, no, he's a scumbag. That's it. He's a scumbag. Yeah. Okay?
Yeah, it has nothing to do. Most of the policy things that he talks about, I agree with. Yeah. The problem is he has no intention or ability to implement any of them.
No,
he just talks a good game.
There you go. All right. Speaking of talking. What? Go ahead. One more.
Well, I was just going to go ahead and finish up my little rant. I'm done.
Okay.
I can literally talk about the Gateses we're actually working on a screenplay idea, and we had to narrow it down from 30 hours down to 15 hours. There's enough stuff that we have between the ages of when he allegedly burnt his school down, whenever he's living in South Florida, and everything else, or it didn't burn down. It was just like a little fire accident. Because he's a little pyro every now and then, allegedly. He's a young child.
That's the rumor. That's the rumor.
And so, but the rumor is really good for a House of Cards kind of thing. They really are a House of Cards family. They grew up in the Truman house. They actually did a movie based on the Truman. What was it called? Truman Show. and they
It
use
was a
their
Truman
house.
show. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's their house.
I mean, they're destined for Hollywood. They're destined for fame. I mean, there's oil in their woods out there in Nashville, and he's going to make it one day. He might not be governor, but he might be in Hollywood trying to be governor.
All I got to say is that the problem with the stories around that family are the stories that I happen to know are true and have been related to me by people who have no reason to lie, who I have the utmost respect for, who have first person witnesses to these things, and so I know the things I know about. If we were to try to turn this into a Netflix kind of fictional account, they would reject it out of hand by saying, "Guys, it's got to be believable. These things can't actually really happen."
I mean, we'd have to fictionalize a lot of it, and we'd really have to fictionalize a lot of it.
Yeah. All right, moving on.
That's our little 5-minute rant there. Tomorrow.
It's a little longer than I thought. The important thing is more than 1 million people voted early in the Sunshine State over the last 2 weeks. In fact, I stopped by the library on Sunday, the 18th, and there was some old guy out there, poll watcher, making sure that when the Democrats stuffed the ballot box outside of the public library, that everything was stapled properly.
The numbers are down for absentees and early voting. The numbers are down comparatively.
All right, so we move on. Now, let's talk about the failure of the current Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. I think we should start off with this clip that happened I'm thinking it was Saturday when she got off script. And things got real dangerous as she tries to explain something about democracy. The vice president, in her own words, we have not modified this. We have not AI'd it. We have not done anything to it. This is a straight take right here. Hit it.
Country of ours in terms of what we stand for around the globe as a democracy. As a democracy, we know there's a duality to the nature of democracy. On the one hand, incredible strength when it is intact, what it does for its people to protect and defend their rights, their liberty, and their freedom. Incredibly strong and incredibly fragile. It is only as strong as our willingness to fight for it. And that's what this campaign is about. This campaign is about a recognition that, frankly, over the last several years, there's been this kind of perversion that has taken place, I think, which is to suggest that the measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down, when what we know is the real and true measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you lift up. That's what we see as strength. We know what strength looks like. That's what strength looks like. Anybody who's about beating down other people is a coward. This is what strength looks like. So we know what we are about. We know what we stand for. And one of the beautiful things about these next 79 days is what the people in this room have already been doing and know. Let's build community. Let's reinforce community. You all as volunteers, what you know, and we're going to spread the word, is how you can look at the face of a perfect stranger and see in their face a neighbor. That we see in each other our connection, our interdependence, what we see in each other, which fortifies and reinforces that the vast majority of us have so much more in common than what separates us. That's what this campaign is about. Yes.
I'm speechless. I'm sorry. I don't know where to go.
Running for president.
Yeah. Without the script.
Don't know how we were started.
It's kind of like Yogi Berra without the wisdom.
That's
it's
true.
Kind of like a Smokey Bear without a fire.
Also true. Now, the former chief of staff for Joe Biden His name is Ron Klain. He is a lawyer. He has been with Joe Biden for some time. He, in an interview, now says that Kamala Harris failed as vice president. Okay? Failed as vice president. He said that she was the last person to speak to Biden before he announced the retreat out of Afghanistan. She was a key member of the administration's plan to fix migration and inflation. He said, we were all united behind the idea she should be successful. Joe Biden said, I want her involved in everything all along the way, and that just didn't happen. He left the president's side, you ready for this? After the Republicans in the House got the majority and then gained subpoena power. Ooh, okay. Yeah. He said, now Jeff Zients, Z-I-E-N-T-S, who is the current chief of staff, he was co-chair of the Biden-Harris transition team. He has said that Harris was deeply involved in the failures. He said, when I started running the transition, Joe Biden wanted her involved in everything. And then Henry Cuellar, he said, oh, and James Clyburn says, they didn't give her time to learn or room to grow. Well, it's OJT, baby. It's OJT. There's no book, Vice President for Idiots, but she might consider writing one after she needs a job in January. And Henry Cuellar, heavy-duty Democrat in South Texas, he said, in no particular order, he predicted her failures, especially on the border. He said, I want to say I told you so, but I told you so. And it just makes you wonder. It just makes you wonder. As we look at the Democratic shift show, I'm going to steal Sean Hannity's words right there. The Democratic shift show that is underway in Chicago. Guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole idea that they're even still to this day ignoring, or saying that we got it wrong about her being the border czar, that was us exaggerating and us just making that up. And one plus one is 20,000, and reality does not exist in the liberal mindset of the media or their Democrats or anything. I mean, she never even went to. She was a border czar. She never went to the border. She never did anything right. Every single project failed.
She went to El Paso in a particular area that had been cleaned up
Very
for about
safe
half
area.
a mile in each direction. The Mexican national, the federales had cleaned out the Mexican side of the border. The trash crew went through and picked everything up. Everybody else who was coming over the wire that day went somewhere else.
She failed at everything.
She had ICE officers cleaning the place. She had the border patrol picking up. Like they got nothing better to do than pick up trash. But by God, we got to make the vice president look good. And by the way, how hard of a job is vice president? How can you be a failure at a job? I had a friend that was lieutenant governor of Missouri. He called himself the lieutenant golfer because that was the extent of his job. And, when you say that Kamala was the border czar, either she really was the border czar or Joe Biden was lying to us. So either she failed to do her job or Joe Biden lied to us about her having a job.
I mean, the whole idea is that she has failed, miserably on the VP job. She failed miserably as a senator. I don't know how many bills she got passed as U.S. senator. I do know she grilled Kavanaugh pretty hard during his appointment, but she failed there as well. Kavanaugh also got appointed, no matter how much she tried to embarrass him and emasculate him. He still got there. And, she ripped him apart from one thing to the other about everything in his past. And she's done nothing and succeeded at it, period. She's failed upwards, and congratulations. You actually shamed an old man who's the president of the United States and made him feel, secondary about everything he does. But, I think she set this whole thing up for the last 18 months. I think this has been a work in progress.
Well, in that case,
everything fell like dominoes, just like that.
No, she's far smarter than we give her credit for. If she masterminded this whole thing for the last
she's smarter than Machiavellian.
Okay. Wait, what's the movie? Jack Lemmon and former presidents. It was a comedy. Come on, help me out here.
Yeah.
You know the movie I'm talking about.
No, I do know the movie.
Tim Garner. It's called My Fellow Americans, Jim
Up in
Garner
there.
Yes.
Yeah.
and
There you go.
Jack Lemmon as former presidents, and the vice president shuffles them out the door by fabricating a lot of crap, and they wants to put both of them in jail. And they're from different parties. They were serious opposition, and really a funny movie. But the vice president thought that he was the smart guy. I don't know. I don't know where to go with that one. So,
No.
all right. But when the chief of staff, probably the number 2 ranking person in
Right.
any administration, and the number 1 person who is not elected by anybody, he controls the president. He controls the access to the president. He was deeply involved in debate prep as well as the former chief of staff. He was involved in the Biden-Trump debate debacle, where they kept Joe up at Camp David for a week taking naps, and nothing sank in. It just went right straight through. But it's, guys, Alzheimer's, dementia, it can escalate rapidly. It really can. One day you're good, and the next day you're on the downhill slope, and you ain't never coming back up, no matter what whatever they stick in you. It ain't gonna happen, man. So
But the lesson he learned was never let Kamala bring you your coffee, because you don't know what's going in it.
You have no idea what's
pretty
in
good.
it.
All right, to give you all an idea, the plan is this week we're going to be knocking out a couple of episodes every night, and so Tuesday we'll be reacting to what they did or didn't do in the Monday night part of the convention in Chicago. How many delegates got robbed? They're talking about security, by the way, telling state representatives and congressmen and senators to use a fake name when they check into their hotels.
Oh yeah,
That's how worried
absolutely.
they are about security in Chicago. So
Yeah.
take that for
If you're an
what
elected official and you're checking in under your own name, you are dumb. You're either dumb or completely irrelevant.
Republicans good, couldn't they?
No, God
Yeah?
no.
Oh, same way for them? Okay.
Yeah, because all the activists. Well, I should say more. The left leaning activists are far more dangerous than the right wing activists.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, there's we have our share of wackos, but they pale in comparison to the Dems. But you never know. I mean, frankly, if you're a Democrat, you got to worry about your own party, because right now those are the ones that are crashing Kamala's little party.
They are.
Yeah.
They're crashing
They're
it very
these
hard.
giant,
She's not nearly left enough.
Killer Kamala, and what was the other? Something else. Bombing Biden. They talk about they're hurting Palestine. What? Huh? And you notice that we are slow walking all of these supplies to Israel and to the Ukraine. And you just say, and by the way, she spent time on Friday. I got two is it an anecdote or an antidote? I don't know. Antecedent. Two little things to mention. Number one, on Friday, she met with the mayor of Dearborn, Michigan, a radical Islamist, although we cannot call them radical Islamist anymore. The guy's from Iraq, okay? He's the mayor in Dearborn. He would be happy with Sharia law in the United States. I am not kidding, okay? And she met with him. By far the most, you thought Pete Buttigieg was bad as a mayor? This guy takes the cake. The next incident is Walz and Harris were in Pittsburgh the other day. Pittsburgh is known for many things. One of the local eateries, of which there are 5 or 6 in the metro area, having lived in Pittsburgh in this century, I can speak to it directly. The oldest one is down in what they call the Strip District, which was a warehouse area. And the place is called Primanti Brothers. Maybe it used to be Primanti's now. They're known for these enormous sandwiches. Greg, if you could pull up a picture of the Primanti sandwich right there. It's a sub with a salad and your coleslaw and your French fries on top of that. And that's what they're known for. So it's probably they used the one downtown in the Strip District. They cleared everybody out. I guess it was Saturday afternoon. There was a Pirates game underway. Everybody got called. Closing time. Everybody out. Everybody comes out. A couple of busloads of actors come in, and they do a Kamala Harris, Tim Walz commercial in Primanti Brothers. Pittsburgh's a union town. I think that went over like a turd in the punch bowl. And the other quote I have for somebody in Pennsylvania is what? He said, 8 out of 10 houses have a Trump sign in front of it.
Yeah, the sad thing is, it wasn't even a commercial. It was a staged event. Like they're walking through this restaurant with the normal common people.
Right.
And to be fair, they were poor and common people, but they're poor and common because they're actors. Because actors are not rich.
Well, they had the qualifications. Yeah, can you wear a baseball hat backwards and you have a flannel shirt? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, Greg's got plaid on tonight. Okay. But he's worn flannel on this show before.
Well, yeah. I'll work tomorrow for you.
All right. I'm looking forward to seeing the results of that. They'll turn up somewhere. But I know that the people in the River City, in the Burg, as we call it, were not happy about that. Please, sports fans, like it, share us, and do subscribe with things like that, which cost you absolutely nothing. Do not open you up to junk mail, and we will never, ever sell your data, whether it's metadata or what are the other types of data, guys? Anybody?
Metadata. Only data.
The metadata is the valuable data. You have to have it. Although we're not charging you, we can't speak for all the services that we platform this stuff through. Yeah, I always say that if you're not paying for the product, you are the product.
Exactly. They got behavioral data. They got everything they can do.
Yeah,
that's really good. Now they got really good facial recognition on all of us. So so that's pretty sad.
Good luck.
Okay. We're going to do a couple more episodes every night this week on behalf of Scott Miller, holding things together in Pensacola, Greg Fink in Alachua County. That's Gainesville, where the motto is vote early and vote often and vote Democratic. I would be Rob Milford in Orlando. What? Am I wrong?
Vote Republican this year.
Yeah. I'll believe those numbers when I finally see them out of Alachua County, based on the fact they did the early voting and they started voting at 7. So
right
probably
now, the voting turnout 12% for early and absentee. That was it.
Probably a week from Wednesday, we'll have the adjusted numbers from Alachua County.
I'm sure it will be adjusted. You're right about that.
Let me tell you, when my mom and dad died, I knew the county clerk in Baldwin County. I made a personal phone call. I said, open your database, okay? I said, see, here's Dad. There's his date of birth. Yeah, he's dead. Make sure he's not on the voter rolls anymore. No, in Alabama, the county clerk takes care of that, not a supervisor of elections. So the county clerk, Bob's dead. Mom died, same thing. So I made sure that after they voted Republican their whole life, that they would not vote Democrat once they are dead.
We got some 100 years old voting quite frequently over here.
Yeah, that's those 110, 120-year-olds who are getting Social Security that make you really question things. Gentlemen, a good night. Let's go suffer through some Democratic speechifying out of Chicago. This is the Political Matrix News.